Welcome to the Nerdist Podcast number 547. We've added a second Nerdist Podcast live at San Diego Comic-Con, Saturday, July 26th at 7:30 p.m. at the Balboa Theater. So go online and find some tickets for that. Come out to that show. There's still some available, and we hope to see you there. I'm very excited for Comic-Con. I try to take less stuff this year than last year, and I think I did slightly. But, you know, when people ask you to do stuff that you want to see or be near, it's hard to say no, because I would go to Comic-Con if I weren't working at Comic-Con, so in some of these cases, the only way that I'm going to see things is if I actually moderate the panels. Because they don't play favorites at Comic-Con, rightfully so, but it's real hard to get into stuff. So I'm excited for Comic-Con next weekend. Hope to see you guys out there. This episode is brought to you by Loot Crate. Loot Crate is basically like a friend who knows what you love and surprises you on a monthly basis with an awesome present. So it's a subscription service for less than $20 a month. You're going to get 6 to 8 items that include licensed gear, apparel, collectibles, unique one-of-a-kind items that you can't get anywhere else, and more. If you love geek pop culture and gaming stuff, then Loot Crate is definitely a service that you're going to enjoy. Again, every box is going to be more than a $40 value, and a lot of times it's a lot more than that. So it's worth it for the money. And this month, in July, what they're doing is paying homage to legendary villains. So July's Villains Month, the Villains Crate includes an exclusive shirt, but they're also teaming up with Marvel to get you a special Looter-exclusive variant cover of Rocket Raccoon #1. So don't miss it. You have until the 19th of each month at 9 p.m. to subscribe and receive that month's crate. And when the cutoff happens, that's it. You've missed it. So hop on. You still have a couple of days left to get in on July Villains Month. Make sure to head over to lootcrate.com/Nerdist. Enter the code Nerdist to save 10% off any new subscription. Thanks to Loot Crate for sponsoring this episode of the Nerdist Podcast, which is Carol Leifer. Now, Carol, if you don't necessarily know her by name, she is an epic comedy writer. She wrote on Seinfeld. She's written on Larry Sanders. She's written on a ton of amazing stuff. I knew her as a stand-up when my comedy brain was developing, when I watched every stand-up special in the 80s. But she's so smart and so cool and so funny, and I really enjoyed having her on the podcast. So when I found out that she had a book coming out, which is called How to Succeed in Business Without Really Crying, I wanted to have her on and just sort of talk. But it was really, these are the moments that I really relish as doing this podcast, is, you know, all these people that helped influence, you know, the path that I would ultimately take later in life when I was younger. Just getting to sit down with them, and the fact that they know who I am trips me out. I was like, no, how can you know who I am, Carol Leifer? I've been watching you for decades. So I was very happy to have her on. Here's the Nerdist Podcast number 547 with Carol Leifer.
Now entering Nerdist.com.
I was really excited to have you on the podcast.
Thank you. I was really excited to do it.
My young life, I mean, I was such a huge comedy junkie when I was growing up.
Uh-huh.
I must have seen you on a million, everything, like a Dangerfield special.
Absolutely.
And all of the, I'm sure you must have done Evening at the Improv and Caroline's.
Yes.
And all that craziness.
Yeah, I think about that Caroline's thing, because Evening at the Improv, Caroline's I hosted, right, but Evening at the Improv I was on, and Vincent Price introduced me.
What?
In 1981, okay? And he introduced me as, please welcome Carol Leifer. And I was so, like, new and green that I didn't even have the balls at, that age to go like, no, can we redo it? Because you just said my name wrong.
You stupid pencil mustache fuck, it's Carol Leifer.
It's Leifer now.
I've changed it.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe I was also scared of him. I've thought about that, yeah.
What's the deal with airplanes? Like, what the fuck was Vincent Price doing?
I know. He was the oddest host for an Evening at the Improv. But.
Men pee standing up, I'm told.
Yeah, that's true. Am I right, ghouls?
Hey! Well done.
Boom.
That was I mean, I always look back at the comedy boom as this romanticized idea, because, now I feel like as sort of a survival mechanism, you know, a lot of us went into podcasting or, you know, social media, just different forms of expressing who we are so that people can decide if they want to come see us live. Because there's just not a lot of stand-up on television outside of Comedy Central.
Yeah. No, it's really wild that in the, you know, when I started out, like, people like, so he's before my, you know, my generation, but Freddie Prinze, if you were on the Tonight Show and you killed, like the next day you would have a series and, you know, you can be a star. I mean, it's really changed and there's no one TV show now where you can go on and the next day be this hit,
you know? Like 100.
Yeah. Or even really doing more through podcasting and YouTube and all that kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah.
It's a whole new world.
How many, you must have done Letterman like 30 times, right?
Well, 26. But who's counting? Who's counting? Yeah, no, I was really lucky that I was performing at the comic strip and Letterman came in and this is right when he had his NBC show. And I knew that he had been in the club, but he was gone when I came off. And luckily I had a good set, so I was happy about that. And then I got a call to do a show. And then when I did his show for the first time, he took me aside and he said, I think you're terrific. And whenever you want to come on, whenever you're ready, just come on the show. Just call and tell us you're ready. You don't even have to audition or anything.
He's probably still like that, right? He goes to comedy clubs.
Yeah, absolutely. Hangs out. Goes backstage, drinking. Yeah. No, it's another different time. But how great to have the support of someone like that so early on, you know, was amazing.
But it was a time in comedy where it seemed like you basically just perfected a bunch of 5-minute sets for everything because if there were so many, every channel had, you know, a ton of shows. Did you repeat a lot of material? Did you feel like, no, I have to do a different 5 minutes on everything, or did you mix it up? What was your?
I kind of mixed it up, but well, with Letterman, it always had to be a new 5 minutes, so I was always in the clubs and working on my, you know, next set, my next 5 minutes to go on the show with. But then, you know, when you're, as a comic also, it depends on the crowd. If you are, you want to make sure you do great, you do a lot of your greatest hits, you know, or if you're, want to try new material, I still do this when I try new material. You know, I sandwich it between things that you know are going to work.
Yes.
So you don't look like a complete jerk if it doesn't work and then you have nothing to sail onto, you know? So it's always just kind of working it out and working out where the crowd's at.
Did you tour a bunch at that time? Were you touring every weekend in those days, or were you pretty much sticking to New York or LA?
No, I did travel a lot in my new book. I hope they gave you a copy of my book that I'm promoting, How to Succeed in Business Without Really Crying.
I don't think they did.
Oh, my God. All right.
Or if they did, it went to someone who has not given it to me yet.
All right. Well, I need that person's name.
Is Don on the phone?
Well, when we're done, I'm going to get you a copy from my trunk.
Okay, good, please.
Okay. But I used to go on the road a lot, but I tell these, you know, war stories a lot in my book. And one of them was, you know, you're probably too big to have worked where a comedy club had a comedy condo?
Oh, no. It's only been the last couple of years that anyone has come to see me on purpose. Like, I've been in many disgusting...
Really?
Yes. Just DNA-soaked comedy condos.
Right. Well, to explain to the audience, you know, club owners, sleazy club owners, got very smart with the comedy boom because it was like, instead of putting someone up in a Motel 6 every week, I could just buy a crappy condo and just throw the comics in there every week and not have to have the normal things like maid service and security.
It'll really help foster all of the bad habits that comics have.
Exactly.
And they'll basically just then you'll just get the residual effect of 1,000 broken humans before you in one hovel.
Right. I mean, you know, what I love about the comedy condo is there's always a kitchen, never a sponge. One sponge, you know? But anyway.
And it's a contraceptive one.
Yeah, an old one.
And
used.
It's used.
Yeah. But anyway, I tell this story about having done the comedy condo, and I worked with this woman, Sue Kalinsky, who's still a friend of mine, woman comedian. We go to the comedy condo and meet this guy. Hey, how you doing? You know, it's Arizona. There's a pool there. We actually hang out at the pool at the Disgusting Comedy Condo. Then around 7 o'clock that night, we're like, all right, we'll get ready for the show. Sue comes down. We were kind of gathered at the door to head out to the club. And we say to the guy, like, okay, you ready to go down to the club? And he comes down. He's still in his swim trunks. He's like, oh, I'm not a comic. I just live here.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, like the sleaziness of the club owners really extended to, I can also rent it to strange men.
Well, you should have just had him do 5 minutes anyway, because he probably would have had a great... Yeah.
So we had to wash that experience off the next day. With
Burying strangers is weird. What? Who's with me?
What are we doing tonight after the show?
Yeah, that was a very brief gig. But so I traveled a lot, and then I did do some big gigs. I was lucky enough that one of my Lettermans, Carl Wilson, who... This story is so long ago that actually Carl Wilson of the Beach Boys is dead. But he saw me on Letterman and asked me to open for them in Lake Tahoe. Yeah, for Christmas week.
Open for the Beach Boys?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was a big deal. But I was not casino ready. I'll put that in quotes. And you know, Chris, there are certain gigs and things you have to do where you have to be, enameled to the crowd.
That's the perfect way to put it. That's
right?
the perfect way to put it.
Enameled. And I went up and I, especially the New Year's show, I had such a hard time. First of all, the Beach Boys were tuning up while I was on stage.
Oh, sure.
So that was lovely. I had no manager or agent with me, so I had to knock, knock, knock. Beach Boys, can you not tune up while I'm on? Thank you. They didn't care. And then the New Year's show was horrible. That I had these frat boys right in front, down center. They literally, no one was policing the room. They literally were pulling on my mic cord and yelling, reefer, reefer. Very smart frat boys, making fun of my last name. And I was like pulling on it like a fisherman line, trying to get my mic back. So that really still rates as my worst stand-up experience ever.
And what a terrible way to soil the Beach Boys.
Yeah.
Like...
Yes, that's true. I know.
Do you get hives every time you hear God only knows?
Yeah, God only knows if I still can live past that week.
Well, that's what's so. I mean, because it's dicey. The mixture of comics opening for bands is dicey because it has to be the right kind of band.
Absolutely,
and it also has to be your audience. And so when it's the Beach Boys, what a fucked up thing for any comic to, because it's like people come to see the Beach Boys, and it's very difficult for you. You're starting from a very bad position.
Yes.
Because you're basically not the thing that they came to see, you're in the way.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter what you say, they're gonna be kind of cranky because
why aren't you the Beach Boys?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Bobcat has horrible stories when he was opening up for Nirvana, where just like when he would walk out, just people just start throwing bottles at him. And just it's like you're in the way. You're in the way.
Beach way they were throwing surfboards and
just surfboards and life jackets, theremins. They were just throwing all their pocket theremins.
Sand, just handfuls of sand. Were they nice at least?
Well, it was such a surreal experience because I flew from L.A. with them to Tahoe in their private jet, so that was like really odd. With a girlfriend I brought, that was strange. But we didn't talk, that much. And then certainly they felt the need with the tuning up while I was on. That was also strange. But no, I didn't really get to know them per se.
Can anyone really get to know Brian?
Do you
Wilson?
really?
Not even Brian Wilson.
I mean, did that gig enamel you?
Oh, completely.
So you were. So those gigs are actually probably some of the most valuable ones that you can have as a performer. No,
and I talk a lot about it in my book because, it's really kind of the book I wish I had when I started out. And I really say over and over, like, anybody who does stand-up knows you've got to suck to get good. Mm-hmm. There's no way around it. You have to fail a lot. So I always say to people, don't be afraid of failing because you're supposed to be doing that. And those gigs, like my Beach Boys gig, those are the things that really, enamel you up to be able to do all the other things that you go on to do. And they toughen you up and make you the better performer.
Were you good on the road in terms of... emotionally, did you have like the enamel to handle the road? Just because when I started touring, what I discovered was that you can, I mean, not to bum anyone out who's going to see a comedy show, but you can get kind of depressed after like the third or fourth show or fifth show where you go back to your room and you're just like, all of a sudden you're just alone and you've basically scooped out all of your emotional energy on stage and you're just kind of like, I feel weird. You know, did you feel that at all?
I don't know. I like traveling. I mean, I'm one of the few people, I still like flying and going to gigs, and I always found that with other comics. Like, there's a certain part of your personality that I always liked, kind of the solitude of it and having the show and it meeting a local act there or whatever and hanging out and becoming friends. And I still have friends from those kind of, gigs, but I don't know. It didn't really bum me out as much as I kind of liked it.
I do love the travel part. I mean, my favorite thing about the job, one of my favorite things about the job is that it basically forces you to see our country or wherever you go, but
right.
as a tourist, like you see so many cool places and feel so much local culture that you would never, in most other professions, you would never be able to do that. But I know so much about this country just from being a touring comic.
Right, absolutely. And it's nice when you get the day to do that kind of stuff and go on a cheesy tour or, do whatever thing like that.
I would always lie to myself and be like, well, I'll get up at like 9, I'll go to breakfast, I'll write from noon to 6.
Yeah, right.
Really,
never works.
Really
I remember working, Niagara Falls, and I went to see Niagara Falls by myself. That was a little depressing because you're like not even anybody there to go like, hey, it's pretty cool, right?
Yeah. Just a stranger's family. Yeah. Hey, you guys, can I jump in that picture with you?
Hey, you can just FaceTime it. Yeah. Hey, look at that. Look at the majesty on your 1136 by 640 resolution. When you started doing stand-up, what was your ultimate goal to always do stand-up, or was it to go into